From vegan gains trying to paint Penguinz0 as a hypocrite, you're just a complete hypocrite. And if anything, what you're doing is arguably worse to Jason WJO lashing out at Penguinz0's wardrobe. He's recording this video, again, wearing the same shirt. Here are 7 people whose ego was destroyed by Penguinz0. Starting with Pirate Software, whose expert indie dev image would come crashing down because of his reaction to the SKG petition. That community brought me this and tried to get me to sign it, and I don't want to. The reason why I have a problem with Stop Killing Games is specifically it starts the wrong conversation. If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single-player experience, and then taking away support in the future, this ain't it. The problem with this argument was Thor's complete misunderstanding of campaign leader Ross's proposal. As a refresher, Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement to stop publishers from effectively destroying video games they have already sold to customers. Nothing in the initiative is asking to convert games to single player. Despite Ross clearing things up, however, Ford didn't accept his mistake or apologize. So, Penguinz0 stepped in to put him in his place. He didn't even get the Cliff Notes summary right. He missed all the QTE and got the bad ending on understanding the initiative from the jump here. Ross is correct. This has nothing to do with just single-player only games. Now, by this point, Pirate Software's misinformed interpretation had already done all the damage it could. This video came out right as we were building momentum. Then, except for one boost in Germany, the signature started drying up like clockwork. And as a result, Pirate Software lost over 100,000 subscribers, completely dismantling his image and turning it into one of gaming's most cautionary tales. But where Charlie destroyed Thor's ego in a single hit, he doubled the damage for Brent after Tyler Oliveira's expose about him landed on his radar. That's Brent Rivera calling security and then the cops on me after I asked him this. Do you fake your videos? No. It all started when I was staying at the Shining Hotel, came out of my room, and randomly found these 2 girls in the hallway. But once Tyler confronted Brent about the girls, things quickly took a heated turn. Go out with your 100 subscribers. We get that louder. Do you think you're elevated beyond an average human being? You've ascended the human, what are you? Wait, who are you? You're harassing our tours. However, while Brent was able to hide behind security in the moment, there was no hiding once Tyler's video hit the internet on February 6th. They literally called security over Tyler asking a question. The ego is crazy, which was why just 4 days later, Penguinz0 gave Brent the schooling he had been asking for. Brent Rivera, a channel with 25 million subs, and I guarantee you haven't heard of him if you're over the age of, unless, of course, you're suffering from some psychological damage and actually enjoy watching. And how can people not recognize that you are an after saying like that? You look like an insufferable douchebag, like just a aging, pure colonostomy bag of a person. Charlie's video turned Brent's comment section into a war zone. Whenever I feel like a terrible person, I remember he exists, forcing Brent to try and save his career by playing victim. I stooped down to his level and I said something that I should not have said. But while Brent was able to get away this time, Tyler wasn't the only YouTuber he harassed, with his next victim being commentary channel Dumpy. I had a community guidelines warning, my very first offense, because of content made on Brent Rivera. This guy's abusing the copyright system because my videos fall under fair use. And when this latest misbehavior landed on Charlie's feed, he returned it with a second sharper blow. So when people started making fun of him, those words cut deeper than Excalibur ever could. So he turned to his team and looked for a solution. And what they suggested was the nuclear option of filing takedown requests and copyright claims on people that were being mean to him, that were kicking sand in his face on YouTube. This is a very well understood severe thing that can legitimately ruin someone's career based on nothing other than hurt feelings. It's also illegal. The internet was absolutely Team Charlie. I love that Charlie is pretty much the final boss for everybody attempting the evil route on the internet. Defeat all the sub-bosses you want, but in the end, Charlie always wins. As a result, the backlash against Brent was fierce, with one of his affected videos racking up over 700,000 dislikes post-incident. Now Brent's still posting, but his squeaky clean prankster reputation is all gone. His ego, irreparably bruised, thanks to the dual hit from Penguinz0. But even this was nothing compared to what happened to TikToker Sienna May when she tried to excuse the inexcusable, a stark contrast to how their relationship started, as Sienna and Jack were the it duo of the internet. Their cuddling, flirting, and constant collaborations convinced fans they were a perfect couple until June 3, 2021, when a now-deleted TikTok showed Sienna's disgusting actions towards Jack. But despite the backlash for this, Sienna simply denied everything. "I have nothing to apologize for because I did not sexually assault Jack, right?" Although this wasn't enough to convince the internet, she's literally insane, and I can't believe she got away with this for so long. Jack deserves so much better, and I hope you know we're here for you, Jack. And contrary to her earlier statement, Sienna did end up apologizing, just in the worst way possible. Dancing around in your undies to a song that has lyrics like "I feel used and it's not my fault." As a response and a so-called apology to your essay allegations is more of a damn ego stroke than anything else, which was why, once Sienna's dance apology landed on Penguinz0's radar, he became the final nail in the coffin of her destruction. This isn't really an apology video. It's just like a ballet recital. She doesn't really say sorry for anything at all. This is like if the feds came up to me, they're like, "Hey, Charlie, we caught you on camera burning down this Toys R Us. We know you're an arsonist. I have it right here." And my response is, I just love to create. As expected, most of the internet took Charlie's side. Imagine assaulting someone and complaining that taking a break from social media is the hardest thing you have done. Truly the mind of a sociopath. And in the aftermath, Sienna lost over 1 million TikTok followers, now only getting less than half the views she used to. Unlike Ava Chris Tyson, who faced harsher consequences after landing on Charlie's radar on July 24, Beast Crew had a ton of evidence surface about horrible behavior with how they communicated with minors, as well as a past of really disgusting. That's unacceptable. It's indefensible. This verbal lashing followed YouTuber Prism42's hour-long deep dive, which not only exposed the inappropriate messages a 20-year-old Chris Tyson sent to a 13-year-old boy back in 2018, but also highlighted his history of supporting an infamous child porn artist. This is something that is irrefutable. The only question about Ava Tyson and Chad Mann's connection is whether or not a piece was commissioned or purchased. But at the very least, a piece was owned by Ava Tyson. But while the internet was completely on Charlie's side, Ava Chris Tyson has no excuse for what she did. That didn't stop Ava from trying to get away with her behavior. In past years, I have learned that my old humor is not acceptable. I cannot change who I was, but I can continue to work on myself. To lump these two factors together, to create a narrative that my behavior extended beyond bad, edgy jokes, is disgusting and did not happen. I just don't think you can write off a lot of those social media posts as edgy jokes or edgy humor when you actually owned art from an artist who draws child. Charlie's response to Ava's terrible excuses, however, only dug her grave deeper, forcing Mr. Beast to finally take action. I've seen enough online and taken immediate action to remove Ava from the company, my channel, and any association with Mr. Beast. In contrast, to take down Penguinz0's monstrous ego, Charlie had to step in the ring more than once. Known for his extreme advocacy that crossed every line, Penguinz0 built his entire ego around being the most righteous. So don't get on my bad side. Make some Penguinz0 and be nice to animals, or I'll kill you. This isn't even a troll, it's just purely pathetic. But on March 27, 2020, Charlie would upload a video that would give Penguinz0 a chance to either prove he can be a hero or let his ego destroy him forever. But I want to show you something truly deplorable and evil. There's a YouTuber that has made an entire career out of torturing and eating animals alive for their mukbang videos. Charlie then exposed mukbang YouTuber Soo Young for her disturbing treatment of animals, well, by devouring it alive, as it tries its best to run the away. Yeah, they're actually alive. It's not like some kind of post-mortem response or anything, and even in the title, she makes it well known the octopus are alive and that she's eating them alive. But while Charlie's video was exactly what Penguinz0 should have supported, his ego couldn't handle someone else being the hero. So instead of backing Charlie, Penguinz0 attacked him for not being vegan enough. So I find it interesting that a penguin will complain about Soo Young abusing, torturing, and murdering these sentient animals, these very intelligent animals, by the way, like octopi and squid, but he's totally fine with abusing, torturing, and murdering other very intelligent animals. You're just a complete hypocrite, and if anything, what you're doing is arguably worse because, again, you're paying someone else to do it. However, these accusations would prove to be Penguinz0's fatal mistake. As Charlie, who genuinely cares about animals, responded with surgical precision the following day. But last night, a YouTuber made a video accusing me of being a hypocrite. It's a bit of a leap to compare eating a chicken tender to a woman beheading a squid and pouring sauce on. I'm not paying someone to torture animals. Charlie then went on to criticize Penguinz0's cult mentality. But it's people like Penguinz0 who are overly aggressive and the feral monsters in his comment section that really give vegans a bad rap and a negative reputation in the world. They vilify anyone who's not a vegan. They treat it like a cult, where you're a huge piece of evil and wrong if you're not in their club. Ending his video with a perfect analysis of the vegan YouTuber's lack of self-awareness. You then had a moment of self-reflection and realization when you said, maybe it's because you're an unlikable asshole. Yes, that's exactly why. That is how you're perceived on YouTube. It's how you conduct yourself. You're extremely condescending to anyone that's not in your club. You literally present yourself as a pseudo-intellectual Twitter user on YouTube. But Penguinz0 wasn't done picking a fight. He uploaded a video where he supported animal cruelty, made a sausage-making video, prompting the internet's favorite YouTuber to finally put an end to this one-sided squabble. It seems like you don't even genuinely believe in having a conversation. You just really want the attention from this whole situation, and letting Penguinz0 experience firsthand what it's like when Penguinz0 methodically destroys your ego. Since then, while the vegan YouTuber has continued posting online, he gets less than a quarter of the views he used to. Much like questionable social media personality Jason Penguinz0, whose massive ego took a devastating hit once Charlie featured him in his "This Guy is Pathetic" video. Today I want to take a look at what happens when all you do is fake it without ever making it. You end up like this loser we're about to take a look at today. A guy who has become a complete parody of self-confidence, but without any level of self-awareness. Let's take you for example, and we both pull up and we go to your girl. Odds are, I'm going to take that. If you compared me to you, you're not gonna win that battle. Bro's out here rocking that manned dark body type and acting like he for some reason be able to take your girl just because he rolled up in a rented McLaren. This guy's entire personality is money. Charlie followed this beatdown with an interesting analysis. Now, why I don't believe him about the success of his business is because the only thing he shows that's worth money is his car, the McLaren. He's made like 1,000 shorts about how much money he spends filling up a McLaren's tank, or how often he drives his McLaren, and that is the only thing worth a lot of money that he's ever shown, at least that I've seen. But instead of taking the criticism constructively, Jason only saw his chance at viral fame. Okay, we're not gonna get heated in this. I'm not really massively triggered. I just want to take advantage of the views, flaunting his material possessions in an attempt to prove Charlie wrong. Okay, I don't only own a McLaren, I used to have a 570s that was white. If you follow me for a while, you know this. It's a convertible drop top. Okay, had that car, sold it, got a yellow Maserati, then got bored and I was like, I gotta get another McLaren. So, I have a McLaren, a Maserati Ghibli. That's a 1 of 5 by the way. But the YouTuber then made one big mistake. This part pisses me off because he says the name wrong, like 8 times in a row. It's not McLaren, it's McLaren. Okay, so that's how we know this guy doesn't really have a lot of status. He doesn't understand these things. This was particularly ironic, given that Charlie's net worth sits around $38 million, while Jason's self-proclaimed wealth amounts to only $3 million, and in response Charlie's fans were quick to school him. Don't be mad that Charlie has a higher net worth than you. And Charlie also didn't waste a second to destroy Jason's ego. He didn't look tougher, he looked even stupider. It's just one of those things where when you get offended, and your defense is, I'll fight you for it. I just feel like it's a bad look. To which Jason responded, he's recording this video again, wearing the same shirt. Does this man change his clothes? But this did not get him the response he had been looking for. I love how he said Charlie has no status, when Charlie is literally sitting in a room full of his accomplishments. And in the end, Jason didn't just lose his fight with Charlie. He also lost thousands of subscribers across all platforms within a month of the drama starting, eventually deleting his entire social media presence. Damn, I had no idea Charlie won the fight against the malnourished Martian without even stepping into the ring. But with Sneo, Charlie did step into a kind of ring, and this time he brought a trusted friend to dismantle the streamer's ego once and for all. The legendary drama kicked off in 2020 when Penguinz0 rightfully slammed Netflix's Cutie. Fact that Cuties is on Netflix is nothing shy of a crime in my opinion. It is actual soft-core child only for Sneo to take this as a personal attack, leading him to defend the film. I saw this commentator Penguinz0, who I actually like. There's not a lot of good commentators, but he's like, this movie is deplorable. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing. Fortunately for Sneo, however, Charlie decided to spare him and didn't respond to his comments about him until 2 years later, when the internet's John Wick criticized the Fresh and Fit podcast. The only thing more pathetic than a guy who calls himself an alpha male is a guy who calls himself an alpha male and then tries to sell advice to desperate lonely men. And it became clear Sneo still wasn't done trying to start a fight. This is his girl. This got Sneo the reaction he wanted. What the are you even talking about? What does this have to do with anything? What does bringing up a picture of me and my girlfriend have anything to do with anything that has happened? But Charlie didn't stop there. But I couldn't help but take notice of one of his more recent viral clips, where he openly defends getting cucked. It is a legitimately super sad thing to sit there and listen to, cause Sneo is very clearly bothered by that whole situation, but is trying to play it off like a deeper message. The whole thing was a massive blow to Sneo's ego, prompting him to make the worst decision possible. Watch my clips, which he would soon come to regret. You absolute buffoon. What you have there is not clips. These are mags. They're mags, not clips. You absolute dummy. The same way that this is also a mag. They're all mags. Stop saying clips. You looking stupid here. Sneo pulling out a gun to threaten him, and then Charlie pulling out a bigger gun to correct Sneo on terminology is probably the most American thing I've seen all week, cementing Sneo's status as the #1 influencer to have his ego obliterated by Penguinz0.